Welcome, everyone, to another special episode of the Affiliated Podcast. And today we are talking about a very serious problem. Serious, Kyle. Not really. I'm never really serious. But the problem we're talking about is, I want to describe, you're probably hopefully listening to this because you might find yourself in a position where things are working really, really well. You had a great paid campaign. You thought your business was never going to stop until recently the campaign started to stall. Things seemed like they're not going the way that they should. I'm not getting the returns that I was getting in the past. Costs are going up, conversions are going down, and you're starting to stress out. Don't you worry, because today we are going to talk about an exciting, very, very, hopefully easy and lucrative traffic source that could increase your traffic without you having to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a new network, a new paid strategy, or pay a bunch of other people to give you a bunch of promises that might lead to just lost dollars and bad ROI. So we're going to be talking about something, and you want to listen in. But first, we're going to share with who we're talking with today. So we have my normal co-host. We have Thomas McMahon. How are you doing today, Thomas?
I'm feeling very normal. Yeah.
Very normal.
Yep.
I'm glad you feel awesomely normal today.
Yep.
And we have a special guest, the beautiful, the magnificent, the amazingly intelligent Lauren Lee. How are you doing today, Lauren?
I mean, I need that intro, like, no matter how many times I come. So
I should start doing nice things to Thomas instead of normally just trying to dig and cut.
Usually are pretty nice.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll change.
I usually throw it back at you in a nice way.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, so guys, we were talking about, like, as saying at the top, traffic. Traffic is a big thing. A lot of people are feeling a lot of stress and concerns around. I know, Lauren, you've been talking with some brands recently that they've really been sharing some frustration. So tell me a little about, what are you seeing? What are you hearing is going on out there in terms of the needs for traffic?
boots on the ground, right?
Boots on the ground.
So I think a lot of people are feeling their paid strategy efforts are not getting the same returns. You know, like the conversions are different. It's really expensive. So a lot of times people will tell me their woe stories about the campaigns they're running, the strategies they're doing, the different tactics, and it's definitely a pain point in their business. And then also people share that, you know, they're running campaigns internally. They're emailing their existing user base or people that have maybe lapsed and are no longer engaged, trying to get them engaged. And they're seeing slower, you know, return on that than they like. And so then we start to have the conversation about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that are really common. I think it's across the board. It doesn't matter what industry, what niche, what vertical in terms of where your product sits, if it's digital or physical. It's really across the board. I think it's across the industry.
Yeah. Well, and so I think the big thing is, like, listen, it's tough. I'm sure a lot of these offer owners you're talking to feel scared. They feel worried. But the good thing is, I shouldn't say good thing, but you're not alone, right? There's a lot of people in that similar place.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that, the fact that they're not alone, is actually really powerful in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, because I think that's one of the big things about this, is not being alone.
It's
is where
friends
you find
we
success.
made along the
Right. So, Thomas, why don't you share so for these people that are looking for traffic, they're feeling stunted, what is the strategy, or what's the exciting thing that they could look towards that says traffic is on the horizon?
I always look at what can you take that has worked and is working now to a degree, and then move that into another vertical that is going to be fresh, blue ocean to a degree, and you can start to mine that. And I look at partnership marketing. A lot of people call it that, right? That could look like affiliate marketing. It could look like influencer marketing. At the end of the day, are there other brands out there or affiliates out there or other people with traffic out there that I can be aligning with in a collaborative way to win traffic to my business and offers? And we're probably going to pay them on some sort of performance, whether that's a commission, whether it's a cost per lead, whether it's a hybrid deal with a CPM you're paying to an influencer and a piece on the back end kind of thing. Like, all of those are at the core of the same model. You're looking for other businesses to work with and then paying them for the performance and making a mutually collaborative environment.
Super exciting. So just to break that down, guys, I think one of the things oftentimes when we meet these brands, they might be like, hey, I'm good at Facebook. I'm good at this. So if traffic starts to struggle, I think, well, now I have to learn a new paid channel. That could be really expensive and really challenging and still not yield the results, especially in a rising cost climate. So what you're talking about, the partnership stuff, sounds incredibly amazing because it's predicated on the fact that payment only happens with performance. You don't necessarily have to structure this program to lose money. Yeah. You could just make sure you're only either breaking even or making money every single time. It really eliminates a lot of the risk at a time that risky propositions or risky channels might not sound very exciting. So that being said, like, what does that look like? Like, okay, so I maybe in Lauren, you can see some examples like let's say I'm a supplement brand or a food brand. I'm doing something in the health realm. Like, who would I partner with? I don't want to erode my brand, or who are these people? How do I get started?
Oh, I'd love to kick your Lauren for this because you're trying with a lot of these brands that are out there trying to like hitting these pain points. Like when you see the ones that are going well or not, like who are they working with, and what kind of, I guess, what does that avatar look like from a partner perspective?
Affiliates? Are we like?
Yep.
Okay. I'm like, oh my god, there's so much terminology. Yeah, I think that they're clear on who they want to align with, right? They're looking for a synergy to their brand, and I think that's important when you're thinking about partnerships in any capacity. So, like, yes, you could, if you are a supplement company, but you're, partnering with like a farmer manufacturer as your partner or affiliate, like that's not necessarily going to be the perfect synergy. So I think that that's really important. But ultimately, I think these brands are looking at building out a campaign or an offer that allows them to recruit affiliates, to be able to connect with affiliates and get that type of new traffic source. And those affiliates could look like anything from an influencer. It could be a creator, which is maybe the same thing, a publisher, a media buyer, an email marketer. So it's really across the board.
Yeah. So let's break down some examples of kind of what this looks like. You're like, okay, we said some things, we said a lot of terms, right? But let's really look at this at a base level. I'm a seller, and just imagine for a second, go along with me in imagination town, right? I have a great product. I'm really excited. I've been running on paid media. I feel like we don't know where else we go, but I know there's more consumers out there. It's a big world. So what you do is you take your product and you go to, say, a bank of, a bunch of emailers. They have daily emails that they send out to people that have content. And they decide to send a little snippet talking about your product. Now, you pay them a commission for that, and all of a sudden, they send out these emails, and all of a sudden, you're getting 50 new sales a day, 100 new sales a day. It keeps growing and growing and growing as more of these newsletters do that. You don't necessarily have to manage that. You're not paying CPMs. You're looking and watching and seeing what's going on, but you're just getting new customers coming in every single time from warm audiences or targeted audiences, knowing it's the exact customer that you want, and you didn't have to go out and be the one that's seeking and mining for that, right? You maintain your strategies, and the crazy thing is, I bet you'll see those campaigns start to even get better.
It is a rising tide.
Yeah, because you're seeing all this other influence from these other areas where they have dedicated traffic. They've already paid, just like you have, to get their attention. And so it's warm, it's trusted, right? And they're coming in here. And on top of that, there's a bunch of people being on a bot from them, but they did see your brand from them. And when you start advertising and targeting them, they're warmer, they trust you more, and your campaigns start working better. So the great thing is right now, if you're struggling with traffic, affiliates will not only give you a new traffic source, it's going to improve your traffic source. That being said, what are all the options? Because there's a lot of options out there to what an affiliate could look like and what the impacts will be. So Thomas, can you kind of break down the types of partnerships or affiliates that you could potentially work with?
Yeah, I'll go off the ones that Lauren mentioned, right? Because I think you've covered the main pillars there, but it's like to me, it's like the content creators. I kind of lump influencers under them to a degree, right? They're making content on a platform somewhere, but to me, that could be a YouTuber, it could be a blogger, it could be a podcaster, it could be the influencer doing story posts.
Let me refine my question for that. Since we come. So why don't you actually talk about what that looks like on an affiliate basis? I think a lot of people are familiar with that.
I'm going to, Kyle. I just wanted to paint a word
Thomas.
picture.
It wasn't a good question.
So like those people, right? They're producing content. They're earning traffic from some sort of platform, whether it's the platform they're on or it's Google or something like that. They are monetizing that traffic in some way, ideally, right? They've got AdSense, they're getting leads from blog opt-ins, they're doing swipe up campaigns on their stories. There's some way they're driving or earning traffic from those. A lot of them are looking for different ways to get paid, right? And they might be looking for brand sponsorships and things like that, but that's getting tightened up quite a bit these days. So they're looking to control their own destiny more. They're going, okay, maybe I could promote other products as an affiliate. What does that look like? And now they're learning that, okay, there's all these good offers out there that aren't just on Amazon and pay me 3%. I can actually make some decent money with my audience who knows, likes, and trusts me and promote offers I like to them. Those are kinds of people you can start to work with on that content creator kind of front. Then we look at more of what I would call like the performance marketer affiliate. This was where I would lump like the email marketers you described, Lauren, and the media buyers, right? And these are people that have an email list, which a content creator might have an email list too, but a performance marketer with an email list is going to be looking at what you were kind of talking about, the newsletters. They're going to be looking at ROI, right? So they're going to be going, usually when I mail my list, I make X amount of dollars. And they're going to be judging your offer and your affiliate program or partnership program based on what they can expect to make by mailing to it. And but the scale there can often be bigger on a one-to-one basis comparing affiliates, because they're looking at maximizing that revenue to them. So they're more incentivized to maybe drive traffic on a bigger scale.
And a higher frequency.
But just to add some complexity to the situation already that is very complex, a creator or a blogger or anybody like that is also looking at those type of metrics. And maybe for a brand, you have your paid media strategy, you're emailing your existing audience, and you have your own acquisition channels, but you're also leveraging, let's say, a blogger, a lifestyle blogger, because they have an email channel, right? So you could have like 1 to 4 that are really driving a lot of considerable amount of traffic and sales, but they also want to look at that success rate and those KPIs.
It's like the beauty brand we're chatting with, right? It's like she's working with these bigger influencers in the space, and they're doing more like email blast campaigns. That's where she gets most of the revenue from, but she loves it when they do a blog post for her, right, for the brand, because when they do a blog post, she gets steady traffic from there on out, from their blog traffic, right? So they're trying to work in multiple ways with those people. And then I was going to say the media buyer person we didn't quite chat about, but those are, you might be running your own media, and you might tell us you don't want anyone to run media because we're doing it, it'll compete. And then I'll ask, how much are you running? You're going to tell me a number, and I'm going to tell you there's people doing significantly more than that that you probably do want to chat with. But media buyers are going, and they're doing the same thing as the email marketers, right? But they're looking at, I'm going to spend this much on ads to this campaign, and I'm going to make this much in commission. And if it's a positive number, I'm going to keep spending money and keep sending sales until it's not a positive number. And then those can scale significantly in revenue. Yeah.
I also, sorry, Kyle.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I also think that just take a minute to really focus in on media buying affiliates, because it is not a common thought. It is not a common thing that a brand leverages. Okay. It's very common in our world. It's like what we do and breathe every single day. But for a brand that I'm talking to, when I introduce the idea of a media buying affiliate, that I can actually leverage the strategies of affiliate marketing with media buying, that's a net new channel, new sales channel for them that they haven't really considered building a strategy around. So when we're talking about those pain points of like, oh my gosh, costs are rising, I'm not acquiring people like I was before, my conversion rates are different in terms of my sales and emailing people. Now you're entering into this world of affiliate marketing where affiliates are doing that for you. They're going out and buying traffic on your behalf and driving that traffic to hopefully, right, a offer that you've stood up or a landing page that is built for converting that traffic. But that is actually quite an uncommon strategy for a lot of e-commerce brands. So I just want to make sure people who are listening are paying attention to that. That's a really big point.
It's great. That's just what I was going to kind of walk into. Is I think a lot of times we go to our situation. A strategy, right? You're listening to this because you've gotten to a point that you have success, and when you have to step out into a new area, that always comes with risk and potential failures. And when you're already seeing your core strategy maybe stagnate or reduce, you now have to put a ton of pressure on something you don't know. One of the great things about affiliates, it offers an omni-channel approach through a singular channel, which is really, really interesting. So maybe it might not be, maybe you do spend a lot on Facebook, or you really want to keep that protected, and that's your thing. You're a meta person, you have a Mark Zuckerberg tattoo, you're like, that's what I do, I know it. But you look at TikTok as this, what even is it? I don't know how to do it. I don't want to try it. It sounds so confusing. What does it even look like? Well, instead of having to leverage yourself to be an expert in every single channel, pay commissions to somebody in a way that they could run it for you. And now we start to see, and that's where we kind of talked about this idea of partnership marketing, right? Finding somebody, not an agency that's going to charge you on a fee base for how much money you're spending.
I'm glad you mentioned agency, because that's how I think it helps people click. It's like it almost is like using an agency that's just operating on pure performance versus a percent of ad spend or a fixed fee or something like that.
And pure performance means I'm not paying unless there's actually an action taking place, right?
Which I've always felt like, I know for those that have probably been frustrated with the agency model, that is like the biggest rub. Like they are incentivized for me to spend money, not for me to make money, just to continue to spend. Now I know an agency says that blah, but we won't get into basking agencies. I just think
we love agencies.
Yes, there's great agencies and we understand the model.
Some agencies run performance offers because they like cash flow and they don't want to manage more clients, right? So it's a great way.
True.
We have lots of agencies that do that. And so again, I just think the idea of, especially when you're in time, you want to try something new, being able to try it on a performance basis is a lot easier sometimes. It could be a really great benefit. And one thing we didn't even talk about, and you kind of alluded to, we know that right now there's a lot of other companies feeling some of these same strains. So they are very open to operate on performance. They want the same thing that you want, right? We want cash fast, and we know that we could perform, and you want results fast, and you want them to perform, right? So it really coalesces to a nice blend. But it could be very diverse. And that's one of the great things is you might not know new channels and which one's going to be the best. So maybe it's in this paid traffic channel. Maybe you find that it is display through a bunch of emails. Maybe it's native. Maybe it's influencers. Who knows? It could be podcasts. There's so much opportunity through the affiliate program to start trickling and finding out what could be the next big avenue for you to focus on. And now you have experts and people in that field that are already pushing you into it. So you step into a new realm in a better place than you otherwise would have. So, which is one of the beautiful things. Now, that being said, it's not to say that using affiliates or partnership marketing is just the easiest thing in the world. And all you have to do is, shake someone's hand and say, let's make money. I'd love for it to be that way. And sometimes it is that easy, but not most of the time. So that being said, Lauren, when you're talking to brands, and Thomas, you guys are talking to brands, and they get excited about this concept of what feels like a blue ocean of just people waiting to sell your product, that's not quite the full reality. So what are some things they need to do to kind of step and maybe say, okay, how do I get started? How do I start making this my next big traffic channel and change my 2024 from what feels like a scary year to something that's hopeful and exciting?
I was chatting with a guy last week who's got a really cool offer that's working really well for their internal traffic. And his metrics seem really good for tapping into this type of model with performance affiliates and content creators, whoever, right? Just building an affiliate program around it. But there is a unique thing in his model that is not quite there. And so when I start looking at an offer and if you want to pay someone on performance, the economics of that program get really important because that will dictate the type of affiliate you can work with to a fairly significant degree as well. So, and what we mean there is if you want to work with a media buyer affiliate, you can scale like we're talking about to thousands of customers a day potentially. They need to get paid very quickly. They need to get paid a fairly high commission for that performance because acquiring customers are expensive, like you're probably feeling. And they can't wait for those commissions to come in on a long payment cycle, right? Like the net 60 days, net 90 days, net 30 days after refunds and stuff like that. They need to get paid that week for those commissions that are happening. And so if your offer or the program or the network you're using can't accommodate that, that is a limitation on the types of affiliates you can work with. In his example, he's got a digital front-end offer in that 37 to 57 front-end range. And then his immediate upsell is a high-ticket, 4-figure coaching kind of thing, right? And no other upsells in there. But the economics on his front-end conversion and that AOV and conversion rate are really good. And it's like, man, and he's like happy to pay 100% on that. I was like, you're so close to having this working for, you could launch this now and it'd probably be okay. But if you can get it working to where it's a standalone offer, not needing that $5,000 upsell on that immediate upsell, if that can be other digital products or other programs you can take, something to get the AOV into that $80 to $100 range or even $60 to $80 range, you can pay all that to the affiliate and maintain your front-end conversion rate. Now you're really talking. And their concern is like, well, now we're going to lessen the number of calls we can get on our high ticket thing. It's like, yes, but if you can scale that it can stand by itself as its own individual offer and scale that. Now you get a lot more leads from the scale from there to get to your high ticket without having, because right now it can't sustain itself by itself because you need that high ticket there. That's just an example of just looking at it. Other things, it's like you have some people do trial continuity, right? It's like, and this converts really well, and that's great. We can work with agencies. It's like, it does work well for your internal traffic, even if it's cold, because the LTV at day 30 is X and you can spend Y, which is a really good place to be when we're talking about this model. But if you're looking at affiliates who are looking at how much commission did I make today on the email I sent or the traffic I sent, and they're waiting for a trial to hit, now you're at a friction point, which isn't a bad thing. It just means that those affiliates are probably gonna be harder to work with than say maybe the content creator affiliates or the influencer type people who might be fine with a net 30 day or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just figuring out the economics. And then if you do need to change economics a bit, it's layering that into that new offer strategy and actually testing that on your cold traffic to make sure it works, and then rolling it out to these affiliates.
Yeah.
So sorry, I just said a lot of word vomit.
Yes,
there,
no. So I'll kind of break down. I say, I think one of the big
Yeah.
things there we see is economics really dictate the types of affiliates you work with and the type of offer. But the great thing about this model is it just changes the direction you're going. It doesn't close off the channel. Because there might be certain things and certain channels in your business, if you do yourself, you can't do based on your product. Are you a CBD product? TikTok's never going to work for you, right? There's certain channels and things you don't have access to. But through affiliate marketing, if this is the way it's built, great. Go work with these folks, and you could maximize that category in whatever way it is, and it's still beneficial for you. And then if time, if you want to go and penetrate into a different market, you could adjust and change. It really allows you to kind of curate it based on what your business is right now.
People
and
with
what it needs
sensual
right now.
products or spicy products, we'll call them, right? Like in the adult space more. Like it might be a very good product and you want to get to still more people, but you get limited by the ad networks or like the Facebooks or the Instagrams, right? You can't run the ads you want to.
Yeah.
But this person sending the email for you to their list can say the things you can want to say, right? So it starts that you get to play in different ways, different types of content material.
And even there's paid media out there that I think at least once a month I hear of a new paid channel I've never even been aware of before. And so the fact that there's all these emerging ones, you don't have to be an expert in every. It's like trying to keep up with AI software. That'd be impossible. But if you just have that affiliate program, it allows you so much diversity, so much options within a singular channel. That being said, that's always could be challenging to find the right place to get started there. So I think, Lauren, for you, sometimes you could see, and people might be like this right now, they get excited by the possibilities, like, oh my gosh, but where do I start? What do I do? So like, how do you kind of refine this down to, where do I get started, at least start figuring out what type of affiliates I need, or maybe I just see what affiliates will say yes to me. Like what's a good entry point?
Oh, I think economics, right, is obviously a really good place to begin. And also just the resources you have. Like, do you have a team, a person who's dedicated? Is it just you, like the owner of this company, who is going to be dedicated to your affiliate marketing strategies? And then getting clear on the product, which we spend a lot of time in other podcasts talking about, like your offer. What are you building? What are you going to actually use to be able to get into additional traffic sources like affiliate? And then we also, shared a lot on this podcast about the tools you use to recruit affiliates. And so I think that's important as well. And then just getting clear on the type of affiliate and making sure, like I said before, that there's a synergy there. So I don't know. I know that's a lot of words and a lot of things to like think about, but ultimately the point is that you're entering into new traffic source that is very low risk, very cost effective. You have the opportunity to tap into other people who have traffic for you and want to promote your brand and want to promote your product and service. And now it's just getting clear on exactly the strategy you want to leverage. So if it's influencers you're going after, it's going to be a different type of offer and campaign you're setting up. Do you want to join a network to ensure that you have those structures you were talking about? You can make sure people get paid on time, you're tracking properly. And then also, this podcast is amazing because you can feel like you have people holding your hand, educating you along the way. You're learning as you're building out these things, but also like reach out to people, like participate, right? You can easily post something on LinkedIn, share with people what you're building, what you're working on. You can be part of a community. Even at ClickBank, we have like those opportunities for people. I think that's really important. Like you said in the beginning of the podcast, you're not alone.
Yeah.
A lot of people are feeling this pain point of expensive acquisition.
The fun part too is that the brands that are all building these programs out can often be good affiliates for each other.
Sure.
Right. So it's like and that's where I think it's really exciting when you start realizing that you don't have to protect your customer at all cost and that your customer is your customer for a moment. And even if they're on recurring, you can still offer them really cool things through your email, through your other channels. That's very collaborative. And it doesn't have to detract from your brand. And then you can start to play as an affiliate yourself and increase LTV through commissions you make.
Yep.
Right. So the things get really exciting and how you can get collaborative and that way.
Yeah, a good way to think of it is I think oftentimes e-com brands think of themselves of like, I want to be Johnson & Johnson or General Electric. Because at the same time, like They don't want to collaborate because they own everything, right? They know that they could be a part of every purchase in your life.
But if they want to work with us, we're okay.
Yeah, we're good. Come on, Johnson Johnson. But that idea of like, if I'm Johnson Johnson, I could play a game where I want to create a Johnson & Johnson household. Every single part of their life, we have their products in there. You probably aren't Johnson & Johnson. You might not have all those products, but you could still be a part of the next purchase that customer has. Oftentimes we get narrowed in that we have to be the only purchase, the singular source of truth, which for some of your customers, you will be. But there's a vast majority that you're not. But you could always be a part of the next purchase and make sure that's monetarily beneficial for you. And also, it's value and impactful to the consumer, because who knows what they might go out and consume. And if you know there's better products that you don't make, but you want to support to your audience, find them, collaborate, get a commission in the process. One thing I want to circle back, and I think one of the big parts of this is it could feel very overwhelming because there is so much. We mentioned like there's a lot of different places. We didn't talk about the back end things that could get complicated here. So where this channel could be incredibly lucrative, I won't say like easy, but in terms of just lower risk and creating a lot of impact, finding a place with stability that's going to give you options and make it easier for you to focus on what you already know what to do, which is sell your product, is going to set you up for a lot of success, which is why I'm going to take a moment and give a shameless plug for a company like ClickBank, because we are really established, and the focus that we have is to create the parts of your business that makes affiliate marketing hard, strip that away so you don't have to worry about it. Work with you. We collaborate with our customers. We know that our clients at the end of the day only succeed if they're succeeding. And we have structured our whole business around that. So we are going to make sure you want a network that's committed to something like that, take away the pain points, and ultimately provide you the variety of affiliates to find out the right network for you. You'll find a lot of networks that say, hey, we have CPA affiliates that do performance marketing, and maybe we have influencers over here, and maybe we have podcasts over here, and maybe we have bloggers over here. Well, now you have 5 to 6 networks you have to manage, have relationships with. What if you had a place that had all of those under one umbrella that's committed to your success and making sure that you could win? Well, it's not fiction. It's here, and you're listening to the podcast. So I think one of the great things is getting started today, whether it's just listening to more episodes, whether it's reaching out to us, because we want to help at affiliate, not at affiliate. I keep saying at affiliate. If you reach out at affiliate at clickbank.com, we want to help you, and we can really give you the resources you need to start getting started, start trying, and start changing your business today. Because it could happen, and it could happen fast. Sometimes it might take some more time, but I've seen people in 2 months.
I'll put this on Marketing Shoulders now to put some resources in the description and all that good stuff, some links to our e-commerce like resources, and like, hey, if you're interested in building an affiliate program, here's questions you need to be able to answer, those kinds of things. In the show notes, all that good stuff.
Kyle, I have a question for you. This is it's on topic, but a little like rogue. So
going rogue, Lauren.
I wonder if you have like a success story of somebody you worked with who was, feeling these pain points. Like they're like, man, we are spending so much on paid media strategies and we're really kind of capped out on what we've been able to do so far. And they come to you and you're like, well, awesome. You're in a perfect place, perfect position. And then do you have a story you could share with us with somebody who was able to leverage affiliate traffic in a way that, or maybe even in other roles or?
Yeah, I'll actually share a great example we had very recently where it was a content creator. So he is in the spicy space, but he was selling digital products, and he was able to go off one strategy, but his strategy was getting to a point that just it could only go so far. He was limited to the places he could reach.
This is a digital product owner. So like a
digital product owner.
Brand.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. He is a brand.
Personal brand. Yeah.
What?
Personal brand.
I'll just say, so he's an ex-star that was selling advice on how to do what he did in his experience. So really would go around, share a lot of digital content. Like I said, spicy, right? So, but what we were able to do with him is expand not only his product set with finding a partnership of another company that sold supplements. So they partnered together, and immediately they had their traffic channel of all the products that they had, and all these people that would have bought his products, they partnered together on an affiliate basis, created a custom line for him, and then on top of that, grew that out to more affiliates, now going to email list, media buyers, traffic sources he has never touched before, and he's just been able to maintain what he is doing. we've almost reached a point that he'll double his business by the part of by the time the end of this year, possibly even more, and it's continuing to grow.
Nice.
So in a part where he went from being stagnant and worried what the next expansion is going to be, affiliates and partnerships, also expanding his product line. Again, he didn't know anything about this stuff. He didn't want to have to learn. He found the right partner. It doubled his business, and it took all of 3 months. Is how long that process took to get started, and it's just been growing ever since. So again, there's really, really powerful stuff that you could leverage right now with the right partnerships and affiliates. Just scale so fast without having to disrupt what you're already doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what excites.
Do you have any examples?
Yeah, well, I was thinking like when I always think like what excites me when I'm on a phone call with somebody, and it's usually when they're talking about the paid ad campaigns they have. That we clarify what is like cold traffic too. Because we've talked about cold traffic here, converts to cold traffic, but I always have to drill in with people like, how do you describe cold traffic? Because sometimes we'll hear, oh, my offer converts at 10% on Facebook. I'm like, either you're not really scaled, or that's to a retargeted, warmer kind of audience, right? So when we say cold traffic, it's converting to people that have seen your brand 0 times before or very limited times before, right? And they're coming from an affiliate and then converting that day. That doesn't have to happen all traffic types, right? But just colder the better when you're looking at affiliate audiences, because affiliate audiences will be cold to you even if they have warm traffic. They're colder to your brand, unless you're very scaled and more of a household name kind of thing. So when they have that kind of thing running, then it's like, okay, what's your margin? How much does it cost to acquire a customer? Like, what's your profit there? Because now we're backing into how much can you actually pay an affiliate. And when they're like, oh yeah, our AOV, our average order value is, let's say, $100. It costs us $80 to acquire a customer. I'm thinking, great. Those are just random numbers they're throwing out, because I know that they're focused on customer acquisition. If they're focused on, we have to squeeze every dollar we can out of the initial sale, and because we don't have any lifetime value built up, or we don't have any margin, then it's like playing with affiliates might be harder, because you're going to be limited in what you can pay versus conversion. Maybe you convert great, but now you're limited in what you can pay. So both things kind of have to be at a good enough spot to start getting some traction in these places. And so if you're listening to this and nodding along going, yeah, we're scaled, we're doing this, yep, we've got that working, we convert on colder traffic. And if you're not shaking your head going, oh, our retargeting takes 14 touch points and that works, then my plea to you would be start testing campaigns that are built around targeting colder traffic before you come to the affiliate channel. Get that proven out. It is going to be harder. It is going to be probably more expensive to get off the ground. But once it starts working, what you learn from that, you take to your warmer campaigns now. Those convert better. And now you've got something that can actually scale with affiliates.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. But I think that, again, it just goes down to this could really represent, again, more of I would think a good way to think, it's an accelerant to what you're already doing well. So you did something well to get to this point. If the economics are there, let's pour some gasoline on and accelerate the heck out of it. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next story that doubles their business in a year through affiliates, or maybe even more. Maybe we'll come up on this follow-up episode and be like, guess what? Triple in 6 months. Wow, And I will tell you, and I'm not saying like this is everybody, but I can tell you I had clients from zero. Like they started out, they had an offer, hope, and a dream. They spent every last penny and they got an offer tested, a product tested. And in 2 months, we had them scaling it over $2 million on a monthly basis. And just took 60 days for them to do that. So things could happen very, very fast. That is not a typical story, but it is a story that's
results
possible.
May vary.
Yes, results may vary. So I just bring that up to you guys. Again, we talked about before. Right now, we know it's tough. You're not alone. But through that feeling of shared pain, if you reach out instead of in, you might find great opportunities through affiliate marketing. Again, finding a network that's leverage that success with you, I personally feel, very biasly, but still think it makes a lot of sense, is a recipe for success. So I think the real question to be asking yourself is, what is stopping me today from trying and putting myself out there to partner and create new success in my business I didn't know it's possible? And should be nothing. So with that, I'd recommend, we have a lot of resources in there. Please access them, click, sign up, start watching more episodes if you need it. Or again, reach out, affiliated at ClickBank, if you have any questions or thoughts. We do read those emails. I don't, because I'm illiterate, but I'm working through it, guys. Hooked on Phonics seems to be helping. Just kidding, of course, but we'd really love to see it, and we want to help. The whole basis of our company is about success in terms of helping others succeed. We want to work together and work with you. So let's get started today. That's what I say. So with that, though, we want to make sure everyone rate, review, subscribe, enjoy the podcast. And of course, Lauren, thanks so much for being here. We love when you're here. It's so fantastic. It's a warm light to our otherwise bearded darkness. What?
Extra perspective that we don't have, right?
Yes.
Your e-commerce background, everything like that. So it's
I
we can
get to learn a lot too.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
We can get so entrenched in the performance
I
marketing.
should have. I just realized I'm wearing the evil red colors.
I know.
And you guys have all
On
this
Wednesdays
blue.
we wear blue.
I know. That's why I'm not at the table. I guess I'm going to somewhere else for lunch. And Thomas, what do we say to the people as we head out?
We say happy scaling.
Happy scaling. Thanks so much. Until next time.